Hi, James. Good to have you back again. How are you?
Oh, thanks for having me. Going good. It's very busy and feeling very hectic, and 2023 is going to be a very busy year for everyone, I think.
Yeah, that's the general sense with B2Me and the clients that we work with and kind of what I'm hearing. It's going to be a big but exciting year, I think. So last year we kind of rounded up talking about budgets and setting goals. Now I'd like to explore more with you around the goal setting and how much MSPs are looking at their marketing goal and whether they factor in going out to new audiences and building up brand awareness. As well as white space, or whether that's kind of forgotten about when they think of marketing and the goals that they've set.
I think to start with, most MSPs when they're looking at this, they're often seeing marketing as only external, and generating new business. Um, but that's also to do with when they are doing the planning and setting revenue targets for the year. They're not often breaking it down to what that means either. So they're not usually going, how much new business do we need? How much existing business can we grow? What other new opportunities are there really in the client base? So we don't really have an idea of what the pipeline is, and then sort of strategy and tactics around that. So we're often starting from that empty space, I guess, around we've just got a figure that we're targeting.
Yeah. And I mean, how do you guys kind of come up with that figure? It'd be good to understand that a little bit better as well. Because just an example, working with a recent client, it then putting that revenue target against actually how much net new business that would equate to, whether that's even achievable. So it'd be good to understand kind of the math behind, or whether it's this is just sounds like a great revenue goal to hit.
So typically, most MSPs are just picking a round figure that they're targeting. There's and how we typically break that down first is to go, what have you got in your existing client base? And then what opportunities are there for growth, and sort of quantify that as well. So cybersecurity at the moment is a good example. Um, People are developing cybersecurity packages. They're looking to sell it to their clients first, which makes sense. You've got a warm client base that will trust your advice and will engage in things that you provide. Often that's the biggest opportunity to move the needle. So I'm just picking some random figures here. Like some security packages might be $50 plus subscriptions. If you're managing 1,000 endpoints, that's five. Oh, it's 50 grand a month in additional revenue, not including the cloud revenue, and then knowing how many you need to sell each month, etc., to get it up to speed. Most MSPs don't actually break it down and quantify it because they don't feel the need. They can just sort of sense the opportunity. But when you do just even do it simple for one potential opportunity, it helps you get that focus on, well, actually, that if I could do that, that's $50,000 extra to the business each month. So we're talking about adding 600K a year in revenue. It's a big dollar figure. So it changed that mindset from it's a small little thing in the first place.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. 'Cause it's funny that you'll go to that level, yet when the conversation then comes to marketing, their headspace goes straight to net new. I don't know whether it's that whole, well, we've kind of got that handled, like they're already our existing clients, we can upsell them, and they don't see it as a problem yet, or perhaps that it should be a marketing focus. But for us, that could be those quick wins to help them get to that revenue goal, especially if they've got some like aggressive growth plans. Like, let's get the low hanging fruit as well as build a strategy for net new as well, and almost use your existing database as well to test what works. What do people respond to? What what is going to get someone across the line, especially in the cybersecurity space. So, a great thing that I've worked with clients doing and recommend is events. Trying to hold exec players within your clients' companies, and get them in a room, position it as a thought leadership piece, because I know that a lot of MSPs are also worried about the conversation being more about the vendor, especially if they're wanting to bring those in to help share expertise, or highlight that particular area. So yeah, again, doing that event with your existing clients is probably going to be a good way to test what's going to work when you eventually, alongside, start building up that awareness with a net new audience. Then all right, this event worked. All right, now let's try again, identify the key players in your within your prospects or that new list, and kind of rinse and repeat and see how that goes.
I think what's important here, like I know a lot of MSPs will hear the event being a thing. It's a lot of work to get an event organized. It's work to invite everyone, get the content up to speed. It's not something that most MSP owners have ever done in terms of standing up in front of a large group and providing that sort of thought leadership. But it is a very useful tool. And the fact that most MSP owners are like that, they're not doing it. So the ones that are doing it are getting a lot of traction and having a lot of impact. And if we take a step back to what you were saying around utilizing that marketing to drive internal sales, why most people don't see marketing as being in fact impactful on their own business is because they think it's a relationship sale, and it is. It 100% is. But so is new business. But we all think that while we do digital marketing externally, it's going to magically grow our business as a silver bullet. But that's not how it works. And that internal sort of marketing play, the way to look at it is, yeah, you probably will convert all your clients over time. But how long's that period? Are you selling that your existing client base that cybersecurity package over the next 3 years? Because that's the reality of what actually happens that I see in MSPs day to day is create a new package, a new offering. There's not 100% focus on it, and it's dribs and drabs and take the opportunities when they're there. And then 3-4 years later, there's still some clients that aren't on it. There's some clients on from the first version. There's some clients on the next version, and it's all over the place. So the way that I would view and see that sort of marketing campaign, how it looks, and you can tell us a few things about how you think about it. The way that I would view it is, well, we're focusing on it. It's a theme for a quarter or something, and instead of getting those 1,000 endpoints over 3 years, we're trying to do it in a quarter. And that's the advantage of having the marketing backing and doing events and things like that you can start to hit one to many a lot faster instead of going the slow game over time.
Yeah, and especially when a lot of the MSPs are evolving to to solely a managed services and security. It's not a now, if a new client was to come to them, they wouldn't actually put forward just a managed services package. Security is now going to become a standard. So yeah, introducing that to your current database and getting those quick wins is going to be the best way forward. Now, when you think about campaigns to your current clients, I've mentioned lead scoring in the past. Again, when you're going out and you've got your whole database that you want to eventually move from managed services to include security, there are still things and behaviors. If you're sharing content, let's just take your monthly newsletters, for example. If you're sending those out, you may again start introducing the topic of security a lot more. Monitor some of the behavior. If you're applying lead scoring to those cybersecurity related articles, when you see that a contact has potentially clicked on that multiple times, okay, right, from a sales perspective, contact those first. So yes, we want to target them, and we don't want to do it over 3 years. Yep, let's do this much sooner. But even then, again, with sales being, there's a whole other kettle of fish with different setups, whether it's still the business owner and they are strapped for time when they think about upselling to all of their clients. 3 years sounds a little bit more realistic for them rather than a quarter. But if they are able to, within that time period, let's say even 6 months, within that be able to go, all right, I can see that these contacts are engaging with this cyber content far more. Let's contact those. Again, at the minute, it's whenever I'm doing a quarterly business review, I'll float the topic and I'll bring it up. And again, we have that relationship. No, let's start sending them some content, making sure even if you are having that conversation, get them into perhaps drip campaigns to share knowledge around that topic, see how they interact with it, and then talk. Then have sales come in and take that conversation to the next step. I think, yeah, alongside doing events, potentially doing like I mentioned, the exec dinners or functions around cybersecurity. But yeah, I think a lot of it as well is trying to make it different in their security packages as well. Everyone's kind of leveraging off of the Essential 8 at the moment and making sure that that actually makes sense to customers. And again, that's where trialing it with your current client base is good to see what works, what they respond to, create collateral around that. Again, the marketing isn't just about net new. You can help with sales enablement. So I think, yeah, a lot of MSPs are trying to focus on the top of the funnel activity and not actually thinking about how they can get them down. But with their existing clients, they're probably already further down the funnel. Again, they've got a relationship, they've got the trust. It's now just having all of the materials in their package put together clearly, and so clients understand it. Because there is still that huge education piece as well with the whole "it won't happen to me." So that's, again, creating those articles that are going to lead them down, hopefully opt into some sort of funnel where they get regular information about it, or even through your newsletter, and try and identify who to prioritize.
And what I hear from a lot of MSPs is, we've never done that sort of stuff. We don't need to. And with the changes that are happening in the market, that education piece is super important, because if you don't have the time and you're not really good at the account management side, which most MSPs aren't, and people will put their hand up for that. There's a bigger threat than ever that you're not showing the value to your clients. And there are some very good MSPs that are very good at marketing now, that more than ever, that are in your clients' mailboxes, on their social media, educating them about things, and you're not. So when they go to look at cybersecurity and you haven't said much to them, and all you do is rock up and go, well, I've got a new package, here's how much it is. And they've had other MSPs feeding knowledge to them, they're going to question and go, well, actually, maybe not. I'm going to go look at this more mature MSP. I don't think you're right for us anymore. But if you're on that front foot and you're providing a lot more education, cybersecurity is one topic at the moment, but longer term, it's really more about enablement and utilizing technology. We're all very much getting caught up in the cybersecurity flurry, and we're on that sugar rush of opportunity. It's not going to last very long. Like you said, everyone's pretty much creating packages around the Essential 8, and we should, because that's what's coming through government, that's what's coming through insurance, legislation, all of that kind of stuff. It doesn't make sense to make your own individual frameworks, and you can put a bit of a spin on it, but at the end of the day, there's certain expectations, and there'll be certain, as we mature, there'll be, here's what the baselines and stuff are, and we just have to do it. And again, that becomes commodity. So feeding in more information than just that as well, so you can target the different people. And like you said, you've already got that sort of client list, so and you can trial and error things because you already know who is in what roles and positions as well. So you get to build all this uh, data and insights that will make your external marketing a lot more effective as well.
Yeah, because what'll worry one industry, accountants, their reputation, play on that. Whereas other industries, they may have other concerns around it. So again, then you can frame the essentially all your security package to what they actually care about, what keeps them up at night, rather than putting out a generic message. I think it's, yeah, like you say, we're going to get to a point where the standards are constantly going to be rising, and if you're only talking about that with net new and not your existing, because you go, oh, it's okay, I can talk to them later about, or I'll talk about it their quarterly review, and not acting now, you're going to miss out because the other marketing agencies like you, the other companies running marketing are going to get in there a lot quicker, and then it's going to be seen that you've not been on the front foot with security or whatever the latest is. So they're going to almost say, all right, well, I'm not getting everything, even though you'll go, oh no, wait a minute, I do have it. No, you need to be on the front foot with everything and all of your communications. Again, a lot of them say that they'll do as part of their account management the quarterly or regular business reviews. Perhaps not wait for this kind of stuff as well. Start introducing it via your marketing and start a conversation earlier. Why wait when in between that, within that quarter, again, they're being bombarded with other marketing messages from other companies. you know they could quite easily, again, forgetting lock-in contracts and things like that, it can spark some concern with the client, and if you're seen to be not delivering on all of those components that other ones are talking about.
And well, we know most MSPs don't actually do quarterly formalized chats either. So that that time we're always reactively selling most of the time. So often we're coming in and we're reacting to what they've requested, rather than us being proactively educating. And that's a time thing, it's a maturity thing. There's lots that goes towards that, but that ongoing sort of messaging and education is very valuable. And I think people think the marketing internally, they see it as that sort of like, I'm trying to think of how to say it. It's sort of like the retail selling. They think that's what you do to market internally. You just send out some specials that you're doing or a new offering. It's not that at all. It's really the education of what's going on, what problems and issues there are, what potential solutions there are to different problems, and spark that thought as that thought leadership. And you'll find, and I've found myself like doing these LinkedIn things and doing frequent LinkedIn articles, having that out there gives me a resource to share with someone. If I'm having a conversation, I can say, "Oh, did you see me talking with Lauren about the marketing?" "Oh no, I didn't." "Well, go watch that and see if that helps." Or I have people come to me and say, "Hey, I've seen that video with you in with Lauren. That sparks some thoughts into me. Can I talk to you more deeply about it?" Um, and it's that, like what you said, that constant messaging. It's like you're having a constant conversation, as long as you're putting out the right content. If you're just chucking out crap, which most MSPs have in the past with their internal marketing, like there was those days way back when some of the hardware vendors pretty much signed up people for free to push out internal marketing. All it was doing was saying, "Here's a desktop. Here's a special on it." That's rubbish. No one cares about that stuff. But they do care about, well, can I leverage, uh, can I get an idea about how to use a tool better in 365? Oh, this accounting firm issues happen from cybersecurity that I should be aware of. Oh, maybe I should consider if that's a threat in mind. Like those sort of things are
Yeah.
valuable.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a fan of syndicated content because it's all heavily in the voice of the vendor. It's not targeted. It's not the right conversation that your audience wants to listen to, because yeah, they've got their own messaging and agenda and the reason behind their marketing. Your audience, again, it aren't going to connect with it if it's not tailored to them and it doesn't, yeah, spark any like pain points that they're actually living through. So by all means, take that to help give you the foundations and groundwork, but make sure, yeah, you're sharing content and thought leadership on actually what that means to your audience. Um, because it's so easy to, even with the ACSC stuff, putting, and when they're putting their packages together around the Essential 8 and they're just regurgitating what that's saying, and they may understand that again, but the audience, they don't know what a sock is, they don't know what a knock is. And if you're saying, all right, we're going to put these additional security policies, again, filter what they need to know, don't necessarily give them all the technical information. There is also a difference between being totally transparent and helping the audience and sharing all this knowledge, but actually share what they actually want to hear about and what their concerns are and address those. Because yeah, we could sit on here and talk about stuff for ages. I could dive into marketing, but at the end of the day, my audience don't necessarily care about how I'm going about executing it and what I'm doing. They just want to know the high level, have some understanding, feel understood, and then like the steps that need to happen and what involvement looks like. So yeah, you don't need to go into the ins and outs of what you're turning on and optimizing and enhancing and things like that. Make it so that they know what they need to know.
Yeah, please don't talk about that because you'll put me to sleep as well. It, but it's an important point. It's knowing the audience and being able to talk to them, and that whole talking about the issues and the problems and the solutions. We do go to what we're comfortable about in terms of that level of technical detail, and it doesn't help anyone with this. And the opportunity there is the translation. So that syndicated content and just copy and pasting what someone else is doing, it's not valuable at all. Like, honestly, this is just my opinion. I wouldn't even bother doing it. You're better off not projecting that out and being quiet than shoveling out rubbish. Because once you start doing that, people just won't listen. So you turn them off more than not speaking.
Yeah. And I think once you've started that online or digital conversation, or you're seen as that go to, then there is a good segue to, then if you have got people asking questions, like you say, pointing to those resources, but then helping you shape and frame what an in-person event is. I know business owners, or if you've got sales teams, they want to be in front of people. That's where they have success. That's also where disties like Pax8 can get involved, and help on the perhaps event side with potential MDF. And then you already kind of have that shape and that framework, as to what kind of works. Again, it's easier to then talk to Pax8, for example, about what the ROI might be, how many people you think you'll be able to get in the room, and then again, that there's a little bit of that fear of, okay, well, if I'm going to bring a vendor in or a guest speaker in, that it's all going to be technical. You've already identified through other online channels or those digital conversations what it should be focused around. So yes, it can tap in and highlight one of the vendors or more, but the value that you're going to bring in that event. And again, your sales team or the business owner is going to love it because they're back face to face in front of people, what they love and they're good at. They're not so comfortable with the digital side of things. That's why they'll come to me, or they'll look online, but or try and explore marketing, but yeah, feel unsure about it. Whereas yeah, if we can do all of that and help guide them and get them in front of people, then hopefully you'll obviously see a higher conversion rate as well there.
I think this goes into the whole education piece and the translation. You start bringing vendors in. Most MSPs don't want to just say, I'm providing XYZ product. They're talking about solution, and they're sort of sitting in the middle. They talk about the technology side. They don't talk about the solution. So it's this weird no man's land that we're stuck in. And to me, you've either got to go and say, I'm completely backing a vendor and I'm going to just plaster their name everywhere. And there's valid strategies in that, because you can get very close with vendors and they will give you good MDF. They will provide you support. You'll get priority stuff and they can help you grow. And if you go to the other end and go where we're giving the solutions, but we're providing that on a problem and business outcome basis, and we're educating people on that side, people will engage with that as well. In the middle ground that we all sit in is often useless, and it's too vague for everyone. It's too technical, but not just completely just saying what we do and who we use, and it's not translated well enough to the end users and the decision makers. So you need to sort of take a step back and go, well, what's my strategy? What's going to be best for my business, and what's my objectives? And there's no right or wrong here. Like that's not. It's not like, well, this company does it this way, so we must copy that. It is really that specific strategy for your business and what makes sense.
Yeah, I think the events that don't work are the ones where the MSPs misguided, or they've been they're excited about getting MDF and go, yep, okay, well, I'm going to get in front of a room of people, but they have no strategy, and they just go, all right, well, I'll bring this vendor in because that name should attract people. All right, we're talking about this topic, but then not think about the problem solution. They're just excited by, yeah, running an event, getting in a room full of people, and not think about everything obviously that goes into creating it, what the message should be, who we're talking, who we should be inviting. They'll just be excited by, yeah, just having the event take place. But it's those events that they'll look back afterwards and they'll talk to, like, I've had them come to me in the past and go, well, I've tried events and it didn't work. Okay, well, what did you talk about? What did you do? What value did you provide? And it was, oh, well, we had this guest speaker talk about this technology. Well, yeah, probably that's why they didn't want to continue the conversation, because it wasn't relevant to them. So, um, if you've run events in the past and they've not worked out, that doesn't mean, again, that events don't work. They are something worth considering. But again, if you have got the strategy in place, you've done marketing to, again, help refine the message, really know your audience, and can identify what the session should be about, then you should have more success.
And that plays into the outside of the event. That flows back into what we are talking about with the white space stuff as well. Is that if we're, I don't know, I'm focusing on cybersecurity. Maybe I change it to Teams calling. Let's just go VoIP. We're trying to drive VoIP. If you just flog it as, now we've got a VoIP service, what does that actually mean to the client? Some people will be ready to purchase at that time and like, oh, I was looking at my phones anyway, fantastic. Others won't be ready to buy. Others don't know that they've got a problem. Is that education around what the benefits are and doing it properly? And by doing that and being themed and backing and having the sales team focus at the same time, that should lift like not just conversion rates, because typically when we sell stuff to our own clients, they accept it. It's that speed of sale becomes a lot faster. And the thing to probably consider on this is, that's right way I say this. Again, we're not flogging a product. We're trying to educate on solutions and enable people to do their businesses better. And this is that mindset shift that especially MSP owners have to understand, is actually slow down and understand what are the actual problems, what are the what are the solutions that we're providing? It's a very different way of thinking.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it all comes back down to having that strategy, which was our first session. It just shows how without having that in place, whether it's net new or existing clients, you need to have a plan of attack, and you need to think about the problems, solutions, map it out, be focused. Whereas at the minute, it's I've got this white space and this where should and so many different avenues, as well as trying to think of net new. Try and pick a target audience, do that really well, and just be really define, all right, what white space should we focus on at the moment, get all of that built, then focus on another one, rather than I'll do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then not actually end up getting anywhere. Yeah.
And you need to quantify them so that you can help prioritize them. I've done it. I've been doing a lot of planning with a lot of clients early early in the year, and what's helped gain some clarity for them is actually quantifying these potential opportunities inside their existing client base. I've had a few clients recently where they were trying to decide between, they know they need to sell more cybersecurity. They know they need to uplift some managed services. They know they've got some other SaaS subscriptions that they could sell. And when we quantified it, it was immediately obvious where all the money was going to come from. Now that doesn't devalue the other activities because it all adds up, and the consistency and standardization makes a huge difference as well. But for the owner, they knew that, well, I'm going to focus on the cybersecurity stuff and really just make it happen. This SaaS subscription is important, and we could up our MRR, gross profit, by X amount of dollars through that. But my sales support person can deal with that. And then this middle ground of the managed services uplift, well, I'll let my junior account people go and focus on that. And whereas before, it's exactly what you're saying. It's like trying to do everything at once, so they weren't doing anything at all. And the final sort of thought I'd put into this as well, what's becoming more important, we spoke about it a bit earlier, how a lot of MSPs are like smashing marketing out there, and at the moment it's very much cybersecurity focused. What I'm finding and hearing as I talk to more partners is, when I uncover and talk about like the transformational projects and digital transformation, think things like ERPs and SharePoint things, collaboration, and all that kind of more touchy-feely technology. Some MSPs might deliver those kinds of services, but most of their clients don't know that they do at all. They've got that perception of, well, my MSP just keeps the lights on. They don't deal with Dynamics. They don't deal with SharePoint. So they don't even go and ask the MSP, can you do this? They just go and find somebody else to do it. And the opportunity's gone. So this sort of internal marketing should be seen as, this is what you're educating your client base on. What do you actually do? What value are you providing? And people will have more conversations. And you can see when you have the external marketing, the internal marketing, your sales processes, your account management practices all in sync, you can capture a lot more revenue and drive a lot higher profitability that way than doing everything ad hoc and not really doing it properly.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And so I think, from my side, I think the different MSPs will have different things that move the needle. So for some, it is cybersecurity. There are some that it is still trying to get clients from a break fix just to manage services. So, but still, again, like you say, making them aware of everything they can do. Don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Everyone's got their own strategy, their own goals. Get those break fix to managed services, and then to your security package. Find out what works for you. Don't just perhaps listen to this conversation and go, all right, I need to now take them from that to that. Everyone's got their own growth plans. But yeah, have a plan, and then stick to it. But yeah, first of all, yeah, identify what is going to move the needle and what's more important to you, and take it from there.
Slow down to speed up.
Yes, 100%. Cool. Well, it was lovely catching up with you again, and I'm sure we'll arrange another session soon.
Well, thanks for having me back, and hopefully this has helped people think a bit differently and maybe see some opportunities that they might not have spotted before.
Yeah, and yeah, hopefully everyone else is also feeling that buzz and excitement around 2023 that we are. But yeah, get stuff sorted, and yeah, 2023 will be a good year.
Awesome. Well, see you next time.